Dungeons and Dragons.
I was playing Dungeons and Dragons with ch.2 and his friends yesterday for like 9 hours.
It
was completely insane. I'm not gonna go through everything that happened, obviously. I'm just going to give you a little setup.
Just a little
and skip to the climax.
Let's get to the
First off,
climax.
it's important to note that we were level 1, put into a module designed for level 5 to 7 characters. My character was a human wild mage named Brickshoe, Stomper of Faces. Throughout the entire campaign, except the very end, which we'll get into later, my character had not been able to do anything useful for the party at all. You see, my character is completely insane, compulsively honest, has an annoying personality, and the most useless set of skills ever. A very fun character to roleplay as. Wild mages have the ability to cast any spell for very cheap. By using this ability, the spell may or may not work properly. And hundreds of different things can happen instead. Here's a good example of my uselessness. I tried to cast Magic Missile on a monster in front of me. Every time I casted Magic Missile before, I missed. But this time I rolled a 20. So I casted Magic Missile at 1 level higher, but with a double wild surge. So as I'm casting Magic Missile, I surge and inadvertently create a wall of force in front of myself. The wall of force blocks the Magic Missile and it explodes in my face. And suddenly a ring of fire appears around K squared and lights everybody in the part on fire.
Damn it.
Oops. So, here's a good part. So, later we're trying to destroy this immortal priest, who can only be destroyed if his heart is destroyed. Of course, his heart is stored in a powerful magic jar guided by a much more powerful clay golem, which none of us can defeat because we're level 1. We tried fighting the golem before, but the priest would just come into the room and attack us all. So we thought of a plan. Most of us would go and attack the priest, while me and the cleric went to destroy the heart. The priest would distract the golem while I got a line of sight and used my magic to destroy the urn. That was the original plan. Unknown to the two of us, the group that was supposed to be distracting the priest got attacked by a huge group of rays on their way there and were forced to run away. The two of us had no idea this was happening, so we went on with the plan normally. The cleric distracted the golem while I cast Fire Sphere. Fire Sphere. But by some amazing coincidence, I managed to accidentally open 2 gates, randomly summoning 2 of any creature in Dungeons and Dragons. The 2 creatures began to randomly attack each other, and the golem and the cleric. Oops. The Fire Sphere would take a couple turns to get to the urn, so I decided to keep casting. I was pretty much fucked at this point, so the only thing I could think of was keep casting random spells and hope I got lucky and my wild surges would somehow do something useful. I started casting on the urn without much effect while the monsters and clerics in front of me kept battling. Things went from bad to worse. The priest walked into the room from the back door since he was not distracted due to the fact that the other group was running away from wraiths. By this time, the sphere of fire had reached the urn, but unfortunately, it wasn't doing anything against the magic urn. Oh, shit. I decided to ignore the priest and fire one last shot against the urn. I cast Magic Stone on it using my Wand of Wonder. The magic wand did almost no magic. The Magic Stone did no damage to the urn, but the spell surged, and it polymorphed the urn into a halfling. The halfling, which had the heart of the priest inside it, since it had been inside of the urn, screamed as he burst into flames inside the sphere of fire. The priest was very angry at this point and decided to cast a lance of destruction on me. It's important to note that I am level 1 and he is a level 10 spellcaster, so I decided the only logical thing to do was to jump straight at him, because I'm pretty much fucked anyway. So I do, and by some freak coincidence, the spell hit the Wand of Wonder instead of me, and the wand shattered, and the spell is deflected into the cleric, damaging him instead. As the Wand of Wonder shatters, it does the most random series of events in Dungeons & Dragons history happens to me. My head and the priest's feet swell up to 3 times their normal size, and I start to projectile vomit bubbles for no less than 1,200 giant butterflies, and into the priest's face. Me and the priest permanently switch voices, and my voice also becomes super high pitched, and everybody in the room starts speaking in tongues. About 3 seconds later, the entire room is fireballed. The priest is knocked unconscious. The blast incinerates the halfling with the priest's heart in it, and the heart is destroyed, and the priest suddenly dies and turns into sand. And then diarrhea starts shooting out of my ass for 10 feet. And I fall to the floor. Oh, a few rounds later, one of the monsters I gated in kills in the golems, and the 2 gated monsters kill each other at the same time.
We killed each other at the same
Later, so the rest of the party comes in through a swarm of giant butterflies. They come across the strangest sight in Dungeons & Dragons history.
What the fuck
I look
is
up
going
for
on
where
here?
I've been, lying on the ground, in a puddle of my own shit, and I say, in a pretty high-pitched voice, I say, yeah, that's pretty much what I had planned out. Thank you.
The end.